What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. Try to keep up with me. There's a lot of twists and turns in this situation. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you're feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. As parents, raising kids is one of the toughest but most rewarding jobs in the world. As soon as your little one enters this world, we already have so many dreams and aspirations for them. You hear it all the time. My son is going to be an athlete, or my daughter is going to be a lawyer. We spend years watching them grow from babies to young adults, witnessing all their growing pains and being there to get them some game on this thing we call life, the best way we know how. I learned years back, it's no handbook on being a parent. We all do the best that we can. If you come up rough, your sole purpose might be to make sure you work hard enough so your kids can have a better life. Or if your pops wasn't around, you probably tell yourself as a man, I'm gonna make sure I'm there every moment of my child's life. But with most kids, it comes a time where they want to venture out and explore the world for themselves. Around about high school, a young man or woman begins to learn themselves, their crowd, what they are into, and understanding their environment. Most parents fear this because in a way, it's them pulling away. And for you, eventually, you have to let go. In a lot of situations, that's when you become a proud parent, watching your child walk that stage or get their first jobs. But for some people, unfortunately, their fear of letting go becomes a reality when their child steps out here and loses their life or goes to prison. Even though it's not the parents' fault, some take that pain and it turns into rage. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to New Orleans, Louisiana to discuss the case of a father who lost his kids and got street justice before the man accused made it to trial. Back in 2021, everything seemed on the up and up for 46-year-old Bokio Johnson. He had made a good life for himself in New Orleans and had a career as an electrician. Bokio prided himself on being a stand-up man and, more importantly, a good father, especially since if you know anything about the NO, you know it's always been considered one of the most dangerous cities in the world. So he knew being in his kids' life could keep them from going down a certain path, especially since his daughter at the time, 25-year-old Breonna Brown, had got caught up in the streets at a young age. Back in 2016, she was accused of taking the life of a 19-year-old young woman over a street debt. She was convicted of manslaughter and received a 30-year sentence. But Breonna's sentence was overturned after a few years, and in January 2021, she was released on a $50,000 bond, while the courts waited to see if it would be a retrial. Now back home, Bokio was happy his daughter could possibly get a fresh start in life. Breonna was also super excited to step back in where she left off in her little brother's life. Bokio's son, 18-year-old Caleb Johnson. Even though Caleb and Breonna had different mothers, the two were close, and Caleb was taking a different path than his big sister. A popular young man at Etna Carr High School, Caleb was a senior. He played football and was just days away from graduation. To this point, even living in the NO, the young man had kept his nose clean. But one day, he decided to reach out to an old associate who had attended his same high school, 20-year-old Hollis Carter. The conversation was about a purchase of a handgun. Allegedly, Caleb was trying to buy a gun, and Hollis told him, I know where you can get that from. Let me make some calls. Caleb then confided in his big sister Breonna, telling her he was about to make that move. Knowing a little bit more about the streets and being older, she told her little brother, I will go with you to make sure nothing shaky goes on. Hollis, nicknamed Hot, hit Caleb back and told him it was a go. He told the young man he could pull up at the Cypress Run Apartments and grab the blick. Caleb told Brianna it was time to make that play. Also in the car with him at the time was his girlfriend. On March 28th, 2021, a little bit after 1 p.m., they all headed to the complex. Hot told them where the park at, and he pulled up soon after that. Not long after, the two young men had a brief conversation. When in the mix of that, over 20 shots went off, and a Honda fled the scene. Witnesses called NOPD, who responded to the location to find Caleb, Brianna, and Caleb's girlfriend all in the car suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Caleb's girlfriend would be rushed to a local hospital in stable condition, but unfortunately, both Caleb and Brianna would pass away from their injuries at the scene. As police talked to the neighbors, everyone stated 2 cars pulled up, and after a few words, a man started shooting. As word got out to the siblings' parents, everyone was hurt and in shock, and all stated Brianna had made her mistakes, but she tried to keep her little brother on the right track as Caleb started hanging with the wrong crowd. And the young man had dreams of after graduating, which was only 21 days away from when he lost his life, of going to the Navy, then starting his own business, flipping houses in his hometown. But their father, Bokio, was broken, feeling like he let his kids down. According to friends and family, the man went on a downward spiral. He stopped going to work, didn't want to talk to nobody, and wanted answers on what happened to his kids. It wouldn't take long before detectives saw messages in Caleb's phone to Hollis. They located the young man and took him in for questioning. Hollis told police he was at the apartments the day to facilitate the gun purchase between Caleb and another man, but he claimed somewhere in the mix, Caleb got irritated and Hollis started shooting. With the confession, he was taken into custody, charged with 2 counts of first-degree hit and attempted hit. As Caleb's family watched his high school video his classmates put together for the young man, it showed he would have won the best smile and he was very loved in his school. His mother spoke about how much his death impacted his 3 younger brothers that looked up to him very much. As the family was left to mourn, Hollis had hired an attorney and now changed his story, stating the other man was actually the shooter, but he was scared if he told he would become a target. He claimed to not know the person by name, but Caleb's girlfriend had survived the shooting, and she let it be known Hot was the shooter. The young lady was placed in witness protection so she could testify when the trial date came. At first, Hollis had a $1 million bond, but it would soon be dropped to $375,000, in which the young man posted bail. He was soon released on a box. This made Bokio feel some type of way, that the man accused of taking his children's lives was free. He attended every court date, telling Hollis and his family, y'all need to let me know who did that to my kids. Telling Hot if he didn't do it, he needs to say who did. As more weeks went by and more court dates, Hollis' mother felt Bokio was getting more and more aggressive, allegedly following them in his truck. It just seemed like he was locked in on the family. Then on March 23rd, 2022, Hollis and his mother got in the car to go to the first day of pre-trial. While en route, a car pulled up and opened fire, hitting Hollis in the head and striking his mother more than 6 times. It was broad daylight. Witnesses who saw the incident called NOPD. When they responded to the scene, they found Hollis suffering from multiple gunshot wounds and his mother wounded badly. They were both rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, the young man wouldn't survive his injuries. His mother was in stable condition and was able to let it be known the truck that pulled up and opened fire beside them belonged to Bokio because they had seen it parked and following them multiple times during and at the court. When detectives went to the man's home, they described it was like a memorial wall dedicated to his kids with a rifle clip laid on it. They felt Bokio took the law into his own hands and took Hot's life. He was taken into custody, charged with second-degree hit and attempted hit. Hollis' family felt the young man wasn't even able to clear his name. They claimed he was a stand-up guy who worked and tried to stay out of trouble, and stated he told everyone he wasn't the shooter and he felt bad for setting up the gun buy in the first place. But now, the young man was gone before he could even stand trial. As Bokio's case made it to trial, his attorney explained him losing 2 kids drove the man over the edge. Seeing Hollis free, smiling, talking to his family, he felt like that was a smack in his face, and Bokio wanted everyone to understand his pain. As jurors cried, listening to how two families were shattered by a bad deal, some felt Bokio should be found guilty of a lesser charge. And in June of this year, the 49-year-old man was found guilty of manslaughter, and his sentencing date is set for August. Rest in peace to Caleb, Brianna, and Hollis. I send my prayers and condolences to all families impacted by this situation. As a father myself, it's hard for me to say what I would have or wouldn't have done if I had access to the person accused of taking my children's lives, especially if the justice system let him out on bail. So I'm going to ask y'all, do y'all think Bokio should have let the system decide if Hollis was guilty or not? Or do you feel like he was right for holding court in the streets? Let me know in the comments. And remember, we got to succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace to all three of them young people that lost their lives in this situation. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. Y'all already know it's all love, fam. This is another episode of Hood Tales. This your boy Tony 2 times. I'm out.